his full power self lately, so maybe that shall change. We're straight in game, as we have got on the top right side Dream from Good Game Gaming. Bottom left hand side, our red Zerg player is Reynor from Kaizi Gaming. Like I said, Kaizi, big loss losing Solar in the off-season to on-site gaming. That is a massive detriment for them. So yeah, that's something that we'll definitely be talking about in the future, no doubt. Further down the line is, to me, Kaizi now kind of more like a top 5 to 6 team rather than like a top 3 team that I had them at before. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what's gonna happen as we kick off into this Dream versus Reynor series. I see some questions about the maps, guys. Maps are predetermined, so you don't get to veto. The only map selecting that gets done in World Team League is after you lose a game, the loser gets to pick the second map. So, first map of each best of 2 is predetermined, and they actually got rid of it. So, in the past, it used to be that this would be... So, in the past, it would used to work in the way that... Basically, you would get given a list of maps, like map 1, map 2, map 3, and those 3 maps were the maps that each player would start on, depending on their starting position in the lineup. But they got rid of that because there was too many mirror matchups happening, because a lot of people said, oh, that's a Terra map, and then we always got TVTs. So they got rid of that in favor of just randomizing the maps once the player lineup was set. And this week, Waterfall is the first map for the first 2 players, and unfortunately for Reynor, that is himself versus Dream, so... that is how it goes down. That's how it all works out. And that's why Reynor has to play on Waterfall here to start out the day. Now, Reynor didn't have a great week last week. He played against Gumiho, and he just kind of died to Hellions, quite frankly. And again, that's kind of, to me, part of why I don't feel like Reynor is quite on point, because that's something Reynor is usually so good against. He doesn't take early game damage. He doesn't get hit on too hard. You know what I mean? Like, he's usually so good in them phases of the game. Last week, he wasn't very good at that phase of the game at all. The second game, he did win, but Gumiho was kind of, you know, the series was over. Gumiho was proxy raxing. Didn't feel like too important of a match from Gumiho's point of view, who had GSL the day after and TVZ to play there as well, so kind of made sense to kind of maybe not throw everything at Reynor in that second game. So yeah, Reynor's first week opening 1-1, and that obviously led to Kaizi Gaming being 0-1 in the season, not even making it to an ace match. They are currently bottom 3 in the league. Would you believe it? But of course, plenty of time for that to change. Over the next few weeks, like I say, definitely don't expect Kaizi to linger around the bottom. As do see a depot coming up at the front, a starport on the way in. And just going to be seeing a Hellion of Dream heading down to the bottom left corner of the map. So Dream on a bit of a journey down to the bottom side for now. And just trying to see what he might be able to get up to here and just pick up some info. He has continued to react to Marines, mind you, so he's going to have a pretty high Marine count compared to expectations. I feel like that's obviously pretty interesting. Definitely, like I say, not quite the norm. Obviously, you usually want to react out those Hellions, get that Hellion count up nicely. It's going to be a very fast stim starting as well. Wow, so we're going to be seeing some very interesting setup here. Still medevac coming out, 3 Marines at a time, so kind of a very fast 2-1-1. Where you've still got the factory making a couple of Hellions. It's very interesting, like I say, it's very off the beat from what you usually expect to see in this matchup. So, yeah, definitely a little bit of a different vibe here. Just see these 2 Marines. We'll get this Overlord kill early as well, so just gets rid of that scout, gets rid of potential further information gathering over there. Make sure that isn't going to be too much of a thing, as we otherwise see ourselves, well, a few Hellions still setting up in the center, Bayness coming down, Lair coming up. Reynor just prepping himself with those incoming units, and we'll see how he does against this little Hellion Marine Pope. Like I say, a few more Marines than you're maybe expecting at this stage of the game, so maybe that has some interest to be discussed. But now we just see the Marines pushing back a few Queens and then falling back themselves. Would love to just see him at least clean out a couple of creep tumors, though. I feel like that is something we have to start moving toward, no? If we're not going to start doing that, then I do get just a little bit worried at the very least. Queens are there, pushing the Hellions away. Yeah, if this opening does nothing at all, then then yeah, Dream, what is the plan? He adds 2 more barracks, siege tanks on the way. It looks like he's going to commit to the 2 base all-in. Because I don't believe there's a 3rd CC in this game, right? This was just 2 bases throughout so far, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Definitely not looking to be too ideal just yet as Hellions and Marines come down through the middle of the map and set up around the left-hand side here. Just going to be seeing our scan will go down. A couple of creep teamers are going to get picked off, and this again just already looking pretty darn good from Reynor because he's losing very minimal, amounts of creep and anything. And that's just going to make Dream's life more difficult when it comes to getting across the map and really at some point here dealing some damage, which you would imagine has to be done at some point, no? I mean, this creep going down is nicer because now it gives you even more space to work with as Dream when you come with this push eventually, so starting to like it a little bit more, if nothing else. Looking a little bit prettier, I guess. So as there's extra Marines going up together, a couple of tanks all coming through as well. We get rid of his Zergle and that's off over on the side. And this push of Dream heads over to the left. Now, Reynor instantly has a group of units to the right. He's already set to counterattack or to flank, one or the other. He can really take his pick as to how exactly he wants to approach this, so he has something of a choice here. As our Ling Bane will continue to get going, and I feel like, obviously, right now you just shut down reinforcements. You don't need to go bust down the natural. Shut down reinforcements and then eventually use this as a flank game. We do see Dream kind of catch these units on the right-hand side already, but Reynor's set to engage with everything else at the same time, so it doesn't matter too much. And Reynor comes in and crushes this first attack, pushes it back, and gives Dream very little opportunity to get settled here in Game 1. Yeah, very nicely done. Just good defense, exactly what you're looking for if you are Reynor, making sure you're not going to be taking too much damage or anything, and just keeping this game well controlled for the early few moments. And obviously now that you've dealt with the first wave of the 2-base all-in, usually the waves after are much easier to deal with. You don't save many tanks the first time around, so you're missing splash damage from here on out as Dream for these attacks. And obviously Reynor's just like, well, yeah, I'm going to have a great time continuing to clean these attacks up. There is really just not enough to truly stop him from just kind of clearing up again and again. And like I say, the splash damage is never going to be what it was meant to be. I like a little bit of a drop down on the bottom side, try and bring something of a distraction into play, because if you're not doing anything, then this really isn't going to go well for you. This really is just going to be a continued disaster. So at least we get a couple of drones, we force Reynor to be distracted for just a few moments, if nothing else. Those are just the kind of things we gotta keep on trying for. So Marines in the bottom. Well, let's see if feelings immediately here. So now Reynor knows about the drop potential. He's going to deal with it. Dream's army supply is still staying in a decent place. I really felt like with a couple of these fights that we've seen, he would have been in much worse stature by now, but not quite true just yet at least. So, yeah, I mean, I guess credit to Dream where it's due. He's keeping it going. He's got another attack coming. He actually has got an upgrade lead. Reynor never went into an Evo Chamber upgrade. He never went into the Carapace. That's only just on its way now, and it's not ready yet. Army supplies even. Dream still just 2 base all in. Becoming more and more desperate to actually win the game with one of these pushes, because obviously the longer it goes, the less powerful the 2 base all in should be, because bases will start to mine out. Yet again, Reynor already setting up the flank, the reinforcement counter. All of these possibilities just giving himself the easiest possible chance to clean this army out. As the tank count's gone up a bit again, we're going to have 4 Liberators to fight against too, so they can do pretty well chunking away at units as everything moves forward. So, yeah, that's definitely a little bit frustrating. Here we go, Ling Bane from the bottom, Ling Bane from the top, and we swarm on forward yet again. The Banes in the middle do not really do much, though. They really kind of end up just kind of, well, getting targeted down for the most part. The Liberator is definitely helping with that. Units on the backside will go down. Reinforcements are now going to clean it up, though, so we actually are going to see Reynor maybe in some trouble here, as Dream is going to be able to keep on fighting these last few medevacs, standing with these Marines, and Reynor is not getting the cleanup at all. And Dream is just keeping this firing. Oh my goodness, this 4th base of Reynor is actually dropping down. His supply is low. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, it was upgrades, right? He's 0-0 against 1-1. And the upgrades obviously would have made a big difference here. These Liberators too, love what they added to the game. Really did a lot when it came to just being able to push back the Baneling count in the middle, so that bottom group of Marines was never really shut down. Dream's killed the fourth. He'll pull back himself for a moment, regroup, and go again. A little less urgency, perhaps, although he is still on 2 bases, but a little less urgency because he knows that Reynor without a 4th base is not going to be skyrocketing away to points that are just out of reach. As into the back of the main base we go. Marines begin to unload, but the Spore Crawler will kill that medevac. I mean, the Marines will mostly still get out, but obviously the medevac down, no healing available there. Just makes it an easier clean out. Still, I mean, it's nice to just be denying some mining time, if nothing else. Anything you can do to hurt Reynor right now is only going to help as Reynor sets up for another fight, as we've seen before. Units looking to catch reinforcements. Obviously, Dream now having to push down through the middle of the map instead of just through the top. So it's a little bit of a longer push. He's got units home to defend. Now the upgrade finishing means that the upgrades are finally evened out 1-1 apiece. I mean, boy, that's something which Reynor will be happy about, because I'm pretty sure those upgrades have not been aiding him at all so far, being down in the upgrades. But man, look at, again, the tech that's involved now. So many libs, and even though they do a lot of overkill to Lings and Banes, every time they fire right now, you're going to be losing like 6 units as the Zerg, right? Because there's 6 Siege Liberators. It's a lot of units to be losing out on and having to constantly replace again and again and again. So, like I say, it's definitely just cause for concern here. And yeah, I feel like the time is ticking here for Reynor. It does not look pretty for him. He is just trying to set up one more fight. I mean, he's trying to take the 4th base on this bottom side, but he's essentially getting siege between all of his bases. At some point, he's just going to have to pull the trigger and go. Counterattack again will not do much as Dream deals with it without too many issues. And here we go. The Ling Bane going to come in forward from all directions. These few Marines on the left side surviving. And they survive long enough. The reinforcements will make quite the difference. And now these Banes, they stopped for a while, so they didn't go forward with the Lings. We drop into range of the Liberators as well to protect those units that had to lift up and back away. Reynor has to type out GG, and Dream is just a little bit too powerful here. And Dream, 2nd week in a row, he's opening for Good Game Gaming with a pretty decent map win. Obviously, Good Game Gaming also a team that are 0-1. But last week he had to play against Clem, and he came out. It will allow us to potentially fund a little StarCraft 2 tournament next week. So check it out. But now, though, we do have in the top left-hand corner the blue Terran player from Good Game Gaming. This is Dream. Bottom right is Reynor from Kaizi Gaming. Down a game and looking to try and bring Kaizi back to at least being level for the rest of this series. Kaizi's ace, not the hottest of starts in the World Team League. Week 1, 1-1. Week 2, currently 0-1. For someone like Reynor, I mean... yeah, for someone like Reynor, it is just kind of wild, right? And it's one of those things where it's like, well, do we really want to criticize someone like, you know, he's lost like 2 maps? But yeah, like when it's Reynor, you kind of do, because Reynor is just meant to be good enough that doesn't really happen, you know? Last season, Reynor went 16-4. So in the first 2 weeks, he's already lost. I mean, and this is without even finishing week 2 already, right? Who knows what's about to happen here, but he's already lost half as many maps as he did the entire season last season. So, yeah, I'll leave that one for you guys to figure out and to think about a little bit, but that's kind of wild. So, yeah. Yo, Neat Pete, thank you so much for the £5 donation. Says, yay, Team League, day off, what a good way to start. Hell yeah, thank you so much for the £5. Thanks for supporting the stream today, really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. So yeah, Good Game Gaming, gonna have Reynor with the pool first. Lings out onto the map just in case Dream opens cheeky 2 racks, and now we'll go and put some pressure on across the other side as well. So we'll go and set that up for the moment as the Lings head across to the upper left-hand side. Away they go. And then get across into the natural or so, and just a little bit of pressure, a little bit of whatever you can do, right? As Dream is currently going to be having his Reaper completely out of position because he didn't SCV scout. So even though this is maybe not ideal for Reynor, he's actually going to do very well across the map because the Reaper is just nowhere to be seen. It has to come all the way back home. And that actually is going to be a pretty major issue for this command center right now, as Reynor is going to nibble it down. And, I mean, a Marine pops out. What if the Lings can they actually get a cancel? Would that be realistically possible? Like, I'm kind of asking the question because I could kind of believe it, you know? I could kind of see it happening, honestly. And Marine, obviously, good enough distraction. Reaper gets back. Still, the CC's pretty low HP coming out of this, and he had to pull some SCVs to defend. I actually really wonder if he could have just kept going on the command center with, like, all 6 lings, just never moved off of them or anything. It sounds crazy, but yeah. Probably not, but I like to dream that Zerg is capable of crazy things sometimes, I guess. We do have the Queen getting across, and Reaper will be deflected back through to the middle, where it's going to go by a hatchery. And the Reaper now just going to hop up to the high ground, hop back down. And the Marauder, the Hellion, still on the way out here from Dream as well. So he's going to go for this typical Marauder Hellion attack. And this is the one which we've seen just do so well for Terrans lately. It's the most committed form of Halberd attack, but that means it's the most successful, because it's not one that the Zergs can just about scramble a defense with or anything along those lines, right? Just doesn't really work like that at all, as we are going to be having. Now, our Hellions and the Reaper just poking away at that hatchery. And like I say right now, for Reynor, he doesn't really have much scouting information either, so it's going to be hard for him to identify what is going on here and what is happening. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough, and yeah, by the time he actually figures out what's going on, he might not be able to get up what he needs to defend. Medevac is on the way, Armory is starting, 6 more drones coming up, so he's going to be up to 48 workers here shortly. This is, so far, really not looking good at all. It's going to be some Queens gather out on the right-hand side, joining together as a few Hellions thinking about a little poke forward to maybe get rid of some of these creep tumors, but will be unable to succeed in that endeavor. Hellions just sitting out the front. Bane's the last, the couple of drones, the Queen all being brought up as our Concussive Shells comes into play. The Liberator coming out also, just bringing this through as our Medevac will also come across. And Reynor's still droning, guys. I mean, he just finished a Baneless, but he just started up even more drones. He has no idea what's going on. Obviously, now he does. Now you've got to kind of bring out an incredible defense. He starts up 14 lings, 5 banelings morphing. So many queens are going to die very quickly here. I think that's actually a major issue. Oftentimes, you can keep these queens alive at least for a little while. That's just not going to be true in this situation at all. Drones are already pulling in to try and help defend against this because the banelings just aren't here still. Oh, 10 drones going down. Dare I say we've already done the damage we need to, right? Yeah, Dream's going to get fully cleaned up. Yeah, he's going to lose out on all these units, but he's killed 10 drones. He's killed all of the queens pretty much. Yeah, I don't think Dream can be too upset about this. The only saving grace here for Reynor is that in kind of, you know, in kind of having over-droned initially, the drones he lost is kind of drones which he could kind of maybe afford to lose, you can argue as well, right? So his work count isn't like terrible coming out of this, but it's only 8 ahead. It's not out of reach for Dream. It's not like Dream's being completely out macroed or anything. Dream has a 3rd CC halfway done, and Stim starting. He's got a lib to try and add on some extra harass. Reynor does get the defense. It was just a very costly defense. Still impressed. I mean, like I say, the Queen's missing as well, just something you have to rebuild into. And that's a lot of minerals as well. I know we all joke about Queens being cheap and easy to get and stuff, but when you have to rebuild that many of them this early in the game, it just is money invested that you would have rather have had invested into more drones, into, you know, more lings, etc. Replacing the Queens is obviously necessary, but like I say, it is quite mineral heavy for you to do at this point in time, so that will eat into other parts of Reynor's play. You can see the upgrades here are going to be kind of even. He does at least have a nicely timed baneling speed, so that's one thing that will go in his favor. I see a couple more Hellions making their way out across over to the right side. It's going to hang out on the watchtower for a couple moments there. We do see the Ling Bane while a group of Banelings already beginning to morph in. Just getting those up and running as our Liberator does turn around this side as well. Going to try and siege up and get some drone picks. So a few drones begin to go down already. Squawkella moves forward. Liberator will have to unsiege and relocate. One from Dream going to be done soon. I mean, honestly, altogether, worker count still within reach for Dream. 5 workers behind. Army supply not too bad for him. I feel like this is okay right now, no? Terran play should be pretty happy. This Ling counterattack is going to be seen pretty quickly. Whoa. The depot actually nearly made the Ling stack up to the point where the mine got even more damage done, so that could have been dangerous. I was about to say Dream supply block, but he's got 2 depots almost about to finish. I mean, how about we'll go moving out to the right side. So Dream's going to start pushing. So far, it does have a little lead right now in army, so I'm just going to force Reynor to make some more units. Anything you can do to slow down his tech by forcing banelings and stuff right now to defend is generally going to be nice. Carving out some creep spreads nice as well. Counterattack of Lings, and what's the defense from Dream back at home? Not a lot so far, it seems like. 12 SCVs just dropping dead instantly. And this Widowmine not doing much as the Overseer soaks that shot. The units there actually now fighting a depot, and Reynor actually didn't pull them away for a moment, but yeah, overall Reynor's going to come out better off for this. Kills 14 SCVs, doesn't really lose much in the process, deals with the attack of Dream without really any issue at all. And I think it's got to be said that Dream is okay. Now he's killing some drones. The Liberator coming back in over here. That's the power of keeping your Liberator alive for as long as possible, because even now, it just randomly shows back up, gets 5 drones, and offsets some of the damage that Reynor was able to deal in that last fight. So, definitely pushes you in the right direction as Dream, who now gets a few free Zergling kills as well. A lot of Lingbane continues to gather up, and just going to be seeing the Hydra count starting to increase as well as Reynor gets into his next set of tech here. He's away off lurkers, but Hydras alone are still a pretty worthwhile investment. Can definitely bulk up the army, make things a little bit more sturdy than just trying to play like pure Lingbane, which can be good, but can sometimes just get that point where it gets, you know, outmassed very quickly. With the Hydras, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do that, and it'll make Dream kind of question, do I still want to be building mines here? Do I want to think about tanks? He's actually starting to build tanks already, so definitely realizing he wants to switch up his style of play. Can use the mines for a little bit of drop play, though, which is not a bad thing. Get a couple of drones here and there and just force Reynor to react a little bit is, like I say, never going to be a bad thing, right? The Liberator's back as well. Love the multitasking, man. Just stuff happening everywhere. The Liberator coming through gets a queen because of this multitasking that was forced, and yeah, the mine drop obviously was seen coming in from, you know, a mile away, but at the same time, we're pushing on the right side. We're going to jump on top of a bunch of queens. And these medevacs are just going to sit here and heal up these Marines. It's only Lings running in. Where are the Banelings? Where are the Banelings? Do they just not exist? There they are. Oh no, Dream doesn't save any units though. Oh, why? That's kind of sad. This was really, really, really good for Dream until he didn't actually save a single unit. I mean, he could have saved 2 medevacs units, no? If he just lifted up a little sooner. The trade initially was fantastic for him. Just felt like he let that kind of slip away a little bit by, well, maybe just staying around a little bit too long, quite frankly. Maybe could have just gotten away so much sooner. Just got a little bit greedy that was going so well, but sometimes you have to ask yourself, why is it going this well, and when is that going to turn? In this case, it definitely turned sooner than Dream was ready for it to turn, fortunately. Smash the Ling's going to morph into Banes. Here comes the medevac moving in. Widow Mines dropping. And actually pretty decent connections just on the units that were here. Yeah, you don't get many drones, but even just the Lingbane cleanup squad, it's going to take a few losses to that, if nothing else. Dream getting a 4th base behind this. A 5th base is setting up. These are all things which obviously Dream's going to be very happy about, very comfortable with in this game. In general, Dream should still be just typically feeling pretty good about things, I think. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, it's not like he's winning the game per se, but I do feel like the game is in a good enough state that he can be pretty happy, especially if he just catches a couple of Vipers for free. He gets 1. The Widowmine's definitely causing more harm than good here, I feel like, though. And a big chunk of the bio there is everything stacked together. Yeah, Robert Thari, thank you so much for the 6-7-month resub. Happy day. Happy day to you too, mate. Thanks so much for supporting the stream. As always, the sub. Appreciate it. This one tank is protecting that mine a hilarious amount. As a blinding cloud comes down, Lingbane Hydra going to start storming forward. Finally, Reynor on the aggressive side of things. First time we've really seen Reynor get aggressive, right? I mean, it's been very much so a case of Reynor just kind of having to defend repeatedly Now, Dream is on the counter-attack as well. If he could get a whole chunk of drones here, that would be really nice, because he's obviously taking quite a bit of eco damage himself. As these mines honestly went a bit too far forward. Gonna blow up a Queen and then into the Extractor. They probably could have burrowed and gotten the drones that were hiding in the corner, but Dream's been distracted elsewhere, and that could have made a difference. Imagine you just knocked down 16 drones during this. Then all of a sudden, Reynor's actually only on, what, like 66 workers, and he doesn't have a crazy bank to work with. But there you go, 10 drones go down here, so that's some of the damage I'm talking about. Just something from Dream to help ease the numbers in this game after taking losses of his own. Oh, those water mines are still active. The only sad thing is they're kind of near the, I was going to say, they're kind of near the Extractor, and Extractors are kind of tricky for mines, because if the drone jumps into them, then the wooden mine shot doesn't kill. This mine got 11 kills, apparently. That's where a big chunk of these workers that died just went down, so there is good damage going down. Dream is going to reestablish the 4th base. That was his biggest loss. Losing the 4th and the workers alongside it. So he mules it up, gets it going again. Problem is, now that you're replacing the 4th, when do you get to actually take the 5th base? That becomes a whole new problem as well, right? So definitely a couple of issues here. It's just going to be seen how Ling's moving through. The Bioforce is just going to get surrounded, and the wooden mine is burrowing again, getting rid of 8 drones. And then just going to be seeing Dream evac here in this medevac up the right-hand side with a couple of Widow Mines inside still. Try and drop some EMPs on the Vipers as our Ghost count is coming online. We're going to need it against the incoming Ultras. Unfortunately, that medevac of mines flew the wrong way and into a few Hydralisks. Reynor's only on 66 drones, guys. Like, if Dream can survive this, Reynor's economic position is really quite dire. 66 drones is not a lot to be working off of. As Dream is not going to survive it, unfortunately. This attack is just a little bit too much, and Reynor is going to get the 1-1. I feel like Reynor is still not happy with this. I think he knows he would like to do so much better